What is going on, my Saab friends? Today I'm going to be discussing a tool that I think every Saab enthusiast, not exactly every Saab owner, but every Saab enthusiast should own within this beautiful box right in front of you. And, well, you know what? I'll stop rambling. Let me show you what it is. So this is a Tech 2 scanner. Now, if you own a Saab and if you've ever had any problems or wanted to change any settings, like say daytime running lights, switching that setting, or even like the locks, things like that, you probably already know what a Tech 2 scanner is. Now, this one I just recently purchased, used actually, but it is a Chinese knockoff clone. If you buy the original Vertronics, I think it is, GM Tech 2 scanner, even used, you're looking at over $1,000, and you probably still need to buy the Saab card for it, which is located in here, and some other different things with it. So the easiest way and cheapest, cost-effective way of doing it is buying a Tech 2 clone like this one here. Now, where you can get it all over the interwebs, eBay, many reputable dealers online, but this specific one I think I actually got for a screaming deal. I got it used on the interwebs from a ad on Craigslist, out of all things, and it came with everything I needed for $200 plus $12 shipping. So I think that is a screaming deal, because more than likely, if you're buying one of these new, the clone, the Tech 2 clone, you're probably going to spend close to $300, and you may need some other additions with it. So, let me show you what all you need. Starting from the outside looking in, you can see this fancy case that I have, and it's actually not something that comes with the Tech 2 scanner. It's supposed to be this like aluminum, but it's actually like plastic. But if you get the more expensive version of the Tech 2 clone, you can get a hardened plastic case, but I think it's too much for what it is. And this specific one, it works perfectly. It's $26 with a 20% coupon from Harbor Freight, and it's pretty nice. I will put the link in the description, but it comes with foam and whatnot. But here you go. Very simplistic. Cut the foam haphazardly here, but it works. You know, just keeps this nice and secure. Foam at the top, right up here, and it works. And then you can adjust dividers and stuff. But basically, when you get your Tech 2, you have so many things with it, and I'll just kind of briefly go over it. So let me show you what we have. So here's the case. Like I said, it does come with extra dividers. Garbage. Keys somewhere, which is nice if you want to lock it up, but pretty much this will always be in my house, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, the foam comes out, dividers come out. Real nice, cheap, 26 bucks, Harbor Freight, can't beat it. Anyways, well, let me take everything out of the bags and I'll show you what we're working with. So once you unravel everything, you have this giant mess on your hands, and it's quite honestly a lot of stuff, but each and everything does in fact serve a purpose. But if you're like myself, you really don't need everything here. So this video, I'm gonna just kind of graze over things a little bit, try to be as simplistic as possible. If you need specific information, I'll try to guide you in the right direction. I will put links in the description. But I mean, honestly, it's really not that difficult to set everything up. Hardest part is getting security access, but I'll briefly go over that. But anyways, here's everything that you get. Up top here are the 3 power cables, different variations of it. This one, if you're like myself, you really won't need. Has alligator clips. You can hook it directly up to the battery, and then this will actually power up the Tech 2 scanner. The other 2 options are the household plug right here and the cigarette lighter. This is the #1 plug that you will use, because the Tech 2 obviously needs power in the vehicle when you're using it, and this is how it will get that. This one you will really only use when you're obviously in the house, but primarily when you're getting security access or trying to get security access. Now, one thing that I've noticed with newer Tech 2 clones, they don't come with this, and you will have to purchase it separately. So just factor that in. If you find a great deal on a Tech 2 scanner, make sure it has that, or you're buying it separate because you will need it. Connectors. Has a lot of connectors, 5 here, if you can count, like myself here. I'm great at counting. And the only one you actually need is this guy right here. This is a OBD2 connector, kind of rectangular, but juts out at the end. And if you have a vehicle 1996 or newer, it will take this plug. And these, I really don't know all the different ones that these work with, but I imagine that's an OBD1, so that's going to be a real old Saab. And then these, I think, go to different vehicles. This is actually just like another serial adapter, so I'm not sure what that's for, but these 4 don't really need. So what else do you get? You get a adapter cable. So this plugs into the Tech 2 down here. I'll show you. This plugs into this guy right here. This you want to make sure you get. It's called a Candy module, I believe. C-A-N-D-I. Usually, actually, on one side, it has a blue sticker and says Candy on it. But this isn't required, I don't think, on an older model, but a newer car like mine, like a 2008, you will need this. And then also, you have some stuff to help you get security access. So right here, you have a Ethernet adapter to a serial port, also called a R232 plug. Basically, sorry for the bad camera angle. That plugs into the side. And this plugs into your old laptop. So another thing to mention too is these are notorious for out of the box, meaning as soon as you get this kit and it's brand new, this doesn't work. So you may need to buy another adapter, or even people have had many connectivity problems due to this being pinned out wrong because it is very cheap. So you may need to buy another adapter, or even look at a pin diagram and where you pin it. But this is only needed for security access. And then you also have this guy right here, which is called a loopback cable. Plugs into the side, and you can actually test connectivity and stuff. But for me, I didn't really need this. I'll just set it to the side. Also, software. It'll come with software. Don't use it. Tech tip of the day. Do not use the software that it comes with. You need either TIS 2000 or Global TIS, which it'll probably come with TIS 2000, but it's a non-cracked version. So basically, you'd have to pay for it to get security access. So there's ways online of getting the correct TIS 2000 cracked version, but don't use the CD that comes with it. Just go online. Like I mentioned, I'll put links in the description to kind of help you, guide you to the answers that you're seeking and try to get you to set this up, but don't use that. To mention too is the scanner does come with a card. It's kind of like a large memory card, and let me show you here. But that is that's it. So Tech 2 32 megabyte card, Saab, English, if you're wondering. And yeah, that's it. So you insert that in here, and let me show you hooking it up to the car, because obviously on the floor is one thing, but in the car it's entirely different. So let me put this back in there. We'll go to the vehicle and hook this up. So hookup of the Tech 2 to your Saab is relatively simple. You just need a whole pile of stuff that we discussed in this sort of like unboxing at the beginning of this video. And I think for starters, you need a sidekick. Hi, Prudence. Somebody's smelling fresh and clean with her bath. So I got my trusty sidekick. Have the Tech 2. So it's got this handy little guy at the back. I'll do that. You can hang it on your steering wheel like such. Not the most secure thing, but kind of gets it out of the way. So we have the Tech 2. We need Candy module right here. First, we will hook up this kind of intermediate cable. So this screws into the bottom. You can see right there, goes like such. And then this little tab faces upwards. We'll get this in there. Now that this is hooked up, follow the cable to the very end. which is this guy right here. This plugs into the candy module, so it gets plugged into this guy. So then we'll get a click, and then this little guy will be locked in there, so that's nice and secure. And then follow it to the end of the candy module, and you will have your OBD2 port, which same thing, this clips right onto there. So now that we have all of this stuff hooked up, next thing we need to do is plug this guy into the OBD2 port, which is right up underneath here. This is some like base switch thing, so it's actually right next to it. Plugs in like such. And then the very last thing we need to do is hook up power. And this is done in between the intermediate cable that plugs in the Tech 2 and then the candy module connector. Plugged in the end right there. And of course, this end plugged into the cigarette lighter. So now that we have everything hooked up that you need, go ahead and stick your key in the ignition and turn it to the on position. Go ahead and press power this thing up. It'll do its basic system checks. Everything passed, and voila, here in a second. There it is. So now we just have to press enter down at the bottom. And there you go. So now, if you're like myself, you just unbox this thing and you're hooking up to the vehicle, you don't have security access yet, well, you're going to want to try to see what settings you can change without security access. And if it's an older Saab, you may be all right. But this one being a 2008, almost anything that you do needs some form of security access. So again, you got it out of the box, you unraveled it, you just hooked it up to your car. Go ahead and try to change something, program something. So we'll go ahead and go to option number 1 and press enter. Go ahead and press enter again. And at this point, your screen may look different than mine because I already have security access at this point. But pretty much what you need to do is have scanner register the VIN of the car that you're working on. So verify that this VIN that pops up is the VIN number of your actual car. If you purchase this used, more than likely the VIN number that's going to come up is the VIN number of the vehicle that the guy before you previously programmed. So you want to ensure that the VIN number is exactly matching up to yours. So at this point, the VIN number is stored on the Tech 2, and you probably won't be able to program anything because more than likely you'll need security access. So it's definitely worth a shot to try it. But if you try to program something and it doesn't let you because of security access, it will in fact say, use TIS 2000 or whatever it is to gain security access. So it will stop you from programming anything. But the main thing is once you get it, hook it up to the vehicle, have it register the VIN number, and then take everything apart here, disconnect all the cables, disassemble it, take it in the house. I'll show you how to hook it up and get the security access. So now that you hooked up your Tech 2 to the car, you come back inside, you want to try to get security access. So you hook it up to read your VIN number, and then once you try to do something, it'll stop you, say, hey, you need security access. Older Saab, it might not have that, but if it's like my 2008, really to do anything with that, you do in fact need security access. So there's two main ways of gaining that. One being TIS 2000, and the second being global TIS. So my understanding, now I don't have a ton of experience nor research with this, it's just kind of grazing over it. TIS 2000 is going to be a little more simple to install, whereas global TIS, much more difficult. You have to file change and all kinds of stuff, but it's a little more worthwhile if you have a newer Saab. So mine's a 2008, so I don't necessarily need global TIS, but if you have like a 2010 Saab, then I believe the only way of gaining access, security access, is with global TIS. So for starters, you need a laptop with Windows XP. Or you might be able to do it with what's called VirtualBox and have like a laptop with Windows 10, but kind of like mimic having XP or potentially Windows 7. But the easiest way of doing it is get a old friggin' laptop. This is an old Dell Inspiron 1525 laptop, I want to say, but it's an old Dell laptop. Pretty much, it's bare bones, not much to it. So, obviously you have your Tech2 scanner. Get Windows XP if you're wondering. I think it's Service Pack 3. I had trouble getting downloadable versions online, but what I ended up finding was on eBay. I'll even put it in the link in the description. I bought it for less than $5, and I uploaded it onto my old machine here. And yeah, so you have your Tech2, you have your old laptop with Windows XP. Figure out what cracked version that you can do. I struggled with TIS 2000, and actually right now, this is not how I gained security access with my Tech 2. I got it through Global TIS, but I struggled with this for some reason, and obviously it's not hooked up right now, but I guarantee it'll give you the same. It's like a 3334 error or something, 3324 error. And for whatever reason, I tried uninstalling, tried reloading Windows XP, but I always got this same error. So I eventually gave up with TIS 2000, did a little more research, and decided I would take a stab at Global TIS. So I'll put the link in the description of how exactly I obtained this, but it's very daunting. There's a lot to it. You got to download this, burn it to a CD, get it back, transfer files. There's at one point you do in fact need a PDF viewer, and it's tough to get something for Windows XP. And this, I guess, for reference, is what I used, Foxit Phantom PDF. And I downloaded everything you see here on my Windows 10 computer and then transferred it either via USB thumb drive or a CD. So anyways, there's a lot to it. There's a lot of research. I'm not going to dig any more into it. It's probably useless to talk anymore at this point. And let me just kind of show you. So you have the scanner, you have Windows XP. My laptop here does not have a serial port. So the cable that it comes with, we'll plug into the side. So there's 2 ports. I'm not really sure if it matters which one, but I always do the bottom one. So you plug in the Ethernet to R232 or the serial port adapter, and then you hook it to your laptop. Well, if you're like myself, your laptop isn't ancient enough, while it might be a dinosaur, it's not ancient enough to have the serial port. So you need an adapter. And how you do this is through one of these guys. By this guy, I mean this specific serial adapter, Triplite by Keyspan, and it's the serial port / R232 to USB adapter. Now there's multiple different options for this on Amazon, eBay, online, wherever, but do yourself a favor and buy this specific one. It's guaranteed for the most part to work with your Tech 2. A lot of different cheaper options. Don't waste your time. You'll just give yourself more headaches. So this one, like anything, I will put the link in the description. But before you hook this up to the computer, you will get the drivers for it, install it, and then once you get that done, go ahead and plug the adapter, the USB, into your computer, and then it will be flashing green when you know it's good to go. So one other thing, before you go ahead and download either Global TIS or setting up the TIS 2000, go ahead, go in your recently found, or even search it, and that's like the driver setup for it. Go ahead, click on that, and get your COM port. Because if you have it set up to COM here, and you set up your TIS Global or TIS 2000 to the wrong COM port, it's not going to work. Obviously, you'll have communication errors, so this is a system of checks and balances, so COM 1, and whenever you set up the security access software, make sure you select COM 1. If that in fact is what yours is. So now that the serial port to USB adapter drivers are installed on a computer, the next step is the absolute most important for gaining security access. You're going to need TIS 2000 or Global TIS. You can have them both, but they're definitely not required. I would start out, try to get TIS 2000, the cracked version, see if it works for you. Didn't mean, I don't know if it's something specific for my machine, I didn't have the right drivers or what, but for whatever reason, I could not get this running. Global TIS, much more difficult of an install, little more worthwhile. It'll work on the 2010 and 2011 9.3 and 9.5 cars, but it is pretty extensive. You got to drag and drop files around. You need this special PDF viewer. All three of these I downloaded on my Windows 10 machine and uploaded them via either a CD or a thumb drive, because this one, actually, this XP machine I have right here that I have everything loaded on now, I don't have internet access, but you can definitely install it from a more up-to-date machine. But basically, I do have the link in the description. It'll lead you to a very great Saab forum called Saab Central, and God bless the guy, I don't remember the username, but he spells out how to install both of these step by step. So follow those instructions. Start with TIS 2000, see if you can gain access via that way. If not, go ahead and download the Global TIS and go from there. So for whatever reason, I think it was my machine, my XP machine here's problem. This never worked, but the Global TIS, a little bit more work, but it's definitely much more worthwhile, especially if you have a newer Saab. So now that we have the drivers, again, the COM port, you want to make sure it's correct because it will ask you when you're installing what COM port you'll be using. Now that you have that installed, you really don't need that anymore, I guess. But yeah, so now it's pretty much just hooking everything up. We have Ethernet hooked up to the Tech 2. The USB to serial port adapter hooked to the computer. Now we'll marry these two together, hook them up. Then as far as power, you will take your household plug it in to a port of your house. Go ahead and take the other power plug it into the bottom of the Tech 2 this time, because when you do it in the car, you actually plug it into the adapter of the candy module and go ahead and power it up. There you have it. So now, because we're going to obtain security access via Global TIS, we'll go ahead and go through this. So here you have it. A little bit different than TIS 2000, pretty much in a nutshell. This is the upgraded, more recent version of it, and this is how you can get security access. So once you have everything hooked up, got a green light, that's good, hooked up, green light, it's powered, we have power on here, go ahead. So you'll notice the Tech 2 will be doing its thing. You'll see you have the VIN number, and that's exactly why you plug this in first to the car. So the module, or excuse me, the card registers the VIN number. So then you plug it in, then it reads the VIN, double check that, make sure that's your VIN, hit next. There you go, security access, type 1. I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is the best security access that you can get. Finish. You can exit out all this stuff right here, unplug it, power this guy down, hook it up to the car just like you did the first time, and then you can mess with whatever settings you want. You'll press enter, select your vehicle, so here are just some of the options, or at least the categories that you can go through and look more into and change the settings. I mean, there is a ton of different things, and of course, there's other options. Diagnostics like values and stuff that you can look into, and even programming different modules, radios, all sorts of things. But the main reason why I purchased this Tech 2 was for one thing in particular, and that's dealing with the locking of the car. So let's see here. Driver door. Has its system checks, but yeah, you can read values, activations, adjustments, miscellaneous, pretty much the activations. So this is the main one that I wanted. Doors and trunk lock at drive off. So you hop in the vehicle, oftentimes you're just driving along and you don't think to actually lock the doors, and somebody tries to open your door, it gets pretty sketchy real quick. So this is real nice. You can activate it as soon as you start the vehicle for the first time you drive off. The doors will automatically lock, and then also this is nice and handy going along with that. Doors and trunk unlock as soon as you shut the car off and pull the key out. So that's the main two personal preference things that I wanted to change and why I got this. So this is pretty much all I dip my toes in water so far with. But I do plan to do more with programming keys and other things as well. So there you have it. I mean, the list of options you can change in the settings, I mean, it's pretty impressive the amount of stuff that you can do. So I'm just dipping my toes in with this. I am a newer Tech 2 owner, so I have a lot to learn, especially when it comes to programming keys and marrying modules and radios and stuff. But there is a lot of good information online, in forums online, and other YouTube videos that are very helpful when it comes to this kind of thing. Turn my AC off there. But there's definitely a lot to learn, but hopefully this video kind of shows you that it's really not as difficult as one might think with setting up something like this, and it's a good thing to have that I definitely recommend any Saab enthusiast, not necessarily owner, because of course it is a little more involving than say like a typical OBD2 port thing that you just kind of plug in. But any Saab enthusiast, I highly recommend it, and so does my co-pilot Prudence here. So I definitely appreciate you watching. Please be sure to like, subscribe. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, be sure to comment down below and I'll see what I can do to answer your request. As always, thank you for watching, and Saab on, my friends. Thanks for watching.